Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. It's so overwhelming to deal with settling the estate and cleaning out years and years of stuff without much help. This woman is so rude to jump right to how she can benefit from the loss of our OP's dad and how she expects to add her needs to what OP is going through. Unreal. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. My dad died, and a non-relative person is listing things she needs from his home. My father passed away a few days ago, and his siblings have washed their hands of the whole situation. He had no will, and as the official next of kin, dealing with the fallout is my responsibility. It's been brutal. Literally, no one has time for this. My dad was never any kind of housekeeper, and now that I've spent 2 days in his apartment cleaning it out, I'm starting to understand that he must have been losing capacity for a long time. I'm talking hip-level garbage and hoarding. It's been traumatic to deal with through a grieving period, to say the least. So I have an apartment full of crap that needs to get binned, donated, or sold. Mountains of unopened soap and socks and deodorants being taken by a homeless shelter. All the clothes in the closet that weren't on the floor donated. Dishes, etc. donated. But there's a lot of other stuff, and I need to extract as much cash out of the apartment as possible to cover a service and cremation and anything else that I don't even know about yet, like trips to the dump, gas money for my boyfriend that he'll try not to accept, etc. I posted on Facebook to ask my friends for advice about donating things, etc., and an update in general about the state of things. One such update. The apartment cleanout continues. It's become very clear that my father was not all there. Lots of multiples of things he clearly lost in the mess. Boyfriend just found a lifetime supply of Dawn dish soap. We still have furniture, electronics, some kitchen stuff. I have several weeks worth of things to post on Craigslist. Loads of wacky/nice vintage stuff. This is a monumental task. Enter my choosing beggar. CB, I need a desk lamp. Me, if you can pick it up, you can have your pick of any and all lamps. I let her know that I'll be back at the apartment on Wednesday and she could come by then. CB, we'll have to see. Trying to get one ASAP. Me, okay, these are free. CB, which is great, just need before Wednesday. She wants a free lamp delivered. She follows this up with several other disjointed, unassociated comments such as TV, ? Office chair with wheels, ? I like dish soap, but not dishwasher soap. Power bars are in need here. She wants my soap, as long as it's the right soap. No please, no thanks, no tact. This is scavenging, and she's not prepared to pick any of it up herself. My boyfriend and I are healthier and have a better vehicle, so obviously we should drop these things by. This is regular behavior, and her Facebook page is riddled with CB fodder from literally asking people to pay for things, to take her out to eat, to movies. I wish I could afford to see. I need someone to take me to see. And then complaining about how she doesn't have any money to get by. But she's going to every convention within a 4-hour drive and making costumes for each one, or buying novelty sewing machines, driving to Seattle on a whim for Star Wars gear. You name it. And our second story. Sometimes when your company screws you, you screw them back. My now previous employer has gone through some unfortunately timed bullcrap in the last 2 weeks. Basic mall retail store setup, 1 store manager, 1 full-time assistant manager, me, 2 key holders, and a handful of sales associates. 2 of our 4 SAs can only work after 6 on weekdays and on weekends. 1 can only work weekends. The new girl we hired can work whenever, but doesn't have her own car, so has to clear her schedule with her ride. Pain in the butt, but doable. The end of last month, keyholder number 2 and I had to have several conversations about things like falsifying documents, doing her job, and how altering bank records is a big deal. Because she got reprimanded, she put in notice saying she'd be leaving on the 14th. The next day, she changed it to the 7th, giving us 6 days' notice. She called off her last shift. Whatever, we can run on a 3-member management for a while till we find a replacement. Keyholder number 1 then had a whole slew of issues and is currently in the hospital for unknown reasons and for an unknown length of time. Okay, this is now harder, but SM and I got this. We'll get some other stores to cover 2 shifts a week so we both have 1 day off a week. I get a really awesome applicant for keyholder number 2's open position and show her where on the website to apply, since our website makes 0 sense for the application, and want to get her in our store. When I bring up the page, I see the SM position listed. Now, about a month ago, our old SM was fired in the most underhanded, crappy way, so I immediately call my SM to let her know in case something shady's going on. I text her a picture of the listing, like she asks, and go on my half. She calls to let me know she is leaving. They've known for a few weeks, but didn't want to tell me until they found a replacement so I wouldn't freak out. Seeing as the job is still listed and she starts her new job this week, I'm doing exactly that. All doubles in a row with no relief for the foreseeable future? Not one manager in another store willing to help us out? No coverage for breaks Monday through Friday? Stress level 1000. So my DM and RM get told I found out what's going on and both come out the following morning for damage control. This was yesterday. Neither understand why I was stressed or upset with them. They offered the solution of walking around the mall at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday to staff my effing store? Right. I've been looking for other work here and there as I don't really click with this company and want something I like better. The hubster and I discussed me quitting without something lined up because they were forcing me to work 2 doubles this weekend because SM is taking an effing vacation this weekend with all this crap going on. So I figure, F it, I'm done. I'm going to work out my shift and hand in my keys. Then SM shows up for her shift. She doesn't understand why I'm stressed. Tells me it'll all be easy. Then asks me to follow her to her new store because any sane and logical person is going to follow the person screwing them to a new place to get screwed. Sure, logics. She asks if I want to go on break, and I just snap. I punch out, go in the back, write "I quit" on a piece of paper, and place my store keys on it. I grab my bag, let her do a bag check, say, "See you later," and walk straight to my car and drive home. I was happily in my pajamas, snuggling my cats and drinking some ciders before the phone call started. I almost wish I'd answered them, but none of these things were my problem any longer, so I didn't want to listen to the squawking cries of these idiot women telling me I have to come back and help out. It's never felt so good to quit a job before. And our next story. Be mean to the person who makes your food and you'll get what you ask for. This happened a few years ago when I worked at a very busy Taco John's. There was this man that would come in 2 to 3 times a week for an apple grande, basically a tostada with apple pie filling on it and a half cup of shredded cheese. He was always in a sour mood and treated everyone like crap. We were his peasants that he came to pick on regularly during our busiest hours, and due to our boss also being a douche, no one had the stones to stand up to this man out of fear of getting fired. Instead, as soon as Cheese Man would walk in, bickering amongst us workers in the back would break out as to who would take his order and deal with what always happened after. Of course, me being the passive shy girl drew the short straw every time. So this man would get an apple grande with extra cheese every time. That's all he ever ordered. And despite us putting extra cheese on, he always would bring it back and scream in my face about how there was not enough cheese and to take it back and put more on. So I would do so, and sometimes even then it wasn't enough for the cheese man. I even tried to explain to him as sweetly as possible that we had rules put in place by our boss about how much extra we were allotted each time extra was asked, and apologized. This would just make him more angry and make him spew more word barf on how I was just a low-life, incompetent worker. So on one particular Taco Tuesday during lunch rush, Cheese Man reared his ugly head. My first thought was not today, Satan, and I actually volunteered to be the sacrifice. Little did he know I had had enough. The quiet, shy girl snapped. Well, on the inside, I smiled ear to ear and politely took and gave him his order, and as expected, he returned it because, not enough cheese. Me, still chipper as can be, "I'm so sorry, sir. I'll take care of this for you." I go to the back with his already extra cheese grande and took 3 massive handfuls of cheese and packed it on top to the point I couldn't close the box. But I made that bee close because not today, Satan. After I successfully made it look like a semi-normal box again, I delivered him back his big block of cheese with a side of apple and a smile on my face. "Sorry for the wait, sir. You have an absolutely fantastic day." Handed over his package and walked away. If I had a mic, I so would have dropped it. I felt so good, and Cheeseman never came back. I'd say mission accomplished, but don't bite the hand that feeds you. And our last story. Did you read my contract? This is not my story, but was related by a friend. We'll name him John. He was an IT contractor for a company. When he got the gig, they initially dangled the contract to employee Carrot, but never followed through. So after 5 years, he was still a contractor. His contract had provisions for annual increases, overtime, weekend and holiday rates, on-call and fixed time off. All was well until he got a new boss. We'll call him Richard. Richard set about marking his territory and crapping on everything. He decided that John was going to become the permanent on-call person. He sends an email to that effect, to which John replies, "Sure, you've read my contract, right?" Richard fires back a not nice email explaining that John wasn't getting out of this. He was on call immediately, and that was that. On-call response time was 30 minutes from notification to being in the office. At the end of the month, John submitted his monthly invoice for 672 hours, 160 hours at regular rate, 80 hours at time and a half, 240 hours at double time, and 192 hours at weekend overtime rate, triple time. Instead of the normal bill of about 190 hours, with overtime equal to 205 hours pay, this bill was for over 1,300 hours worth of pay once you multiplied out the overtime. The fallout? Richard fired John, who was the only guy working on a particular project that was 90% complete. John enjoyed his 30 days paid termination vacation. The CEO called John to find out the status of the big project and found out that nobody was working on it. Richard was fired, John was rehired with the bump in pay, and he never had to pull on call again. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.